Come on in, everyone. Come on in so we can talk about this latest Love and Marriage Huntsville episode where Marsau gaslighted the hell out of Tisha. But you know what? Tisha is slow AF, y'all. I'm not going to lie. Poor Tisha. Tisha's gotten better, but when you look at this show now, it has been on, I don't know what, 10 seasons, 10, 11 years. I don't know how long. The amount of progress Tisha has made is not equivalent to the number of years. Tisha's still slow, and Marsau hasn't made any progress. He's still a gaslighter. Uh, Marsau had that big moment, did all that talking, and all he really said in the end was, "Bring me a sandwich. Don't ask me to go to lunch. Don't ask me to take you out on a date. Don't be involved in this business. I don't want you to do anything. All I want you to do is bring me a sandwich and don't ask me to complete your office. Because the truth of the matter is, Marcel don't want you to have an office anyway, Tisha. Why would he want to give you a business office and he don't even want you to be a businesswoman? He ain't never wanted you to be a businesswoman. Marcel runs circles around Tisha. She can't keep up. Tisha may be good in school. She may have a bachelor's. She has a master's. But those are type of environments where you have a long time to think, right? Here's your homework assignment. Go home and think about it. And it ain't due to 2 weeks. You got 2 weeks to think about things. But when Tisha's sitting here in front of Marcel, and Marcel is quick like this, he's gaslighting her the hell up. She can't think fast enough. She just really can't think fast enough. And all she has to lean on is all she knows is she's feeling frustrated. All she knows is right now, I don't feel good. Like she says, this is effed up. This is horrible. But she can't really counteract Marcel's quick-wittedness because Tisha's slow. And unfortunately, what has happened over the years is Tisha's mother shielded her because her mother is quick-witted. Miss Wanda, she's quick-witted. And so what Miss Wanda did was she let Tisha act crazy, act a fool, instigate things, spit her mouth. But the truth of the matter is, when it came to go toe to toe with people, whether it was Marceau here, anybody else on this show, Miss Wanda had to step in and provide the tongue for Tisha because Tisha's slow. Well, Miss Wanda's been banned from the show. So now Tisha's over here sinking and Marceau is eating her up, eating her up. Now, it's not really a fair fight because, like I said, Marceau is gaslighting her. See, Marceau needs another quick-witted person to knock him off his little pedestal. He couldn't argue with me. Marceau could not argue with me. He couldn't. He wouldn't get away with it. Just like he couldn't do it with Mel. He can't really do it with too many people besides Tisha. I knew Marceau's energy was going to be bad when he took that bad advice from Maurice. And that bad advice was, why don't you go back to Tisha and say, why don't you let me buy you out? Bad advice. That's really bad advice for any man to go back to his wife. Um, what Marceau's really mad about, let's really get to the nitty gritty because he actually never really said anything. All Marceau did was scream, yell, and gaslight, right? He didn't really reveal his true feelings. That's the thing about Marceau. If you're not quick and if you don't have discernment and if you don't have emotional intelligence, you would get distracted by all the gaslighting that Marceau's doing and you really wouldn't get to the root. Not only will you not get to the root, but even Tisha doesn't even know how to ask the right questions. She's outwitted here. She needs to bring in a professional, a counselor, a therapist who can actually sift through Marceau's gaslighting. But let me tell you what Marceau's really mad about. What Marceau is really mad about is that years ago, when he first started Scope, they started together. Marceau was broke. He was broke. He didn't have enough money to start the business. But Tisha had some money because Tisha went to school. Tisha saved her money. Like I said, Tisha's slow and methodical. She saved her money. Marceau's quick, spent his money, burned it up. Now they want to start this construction business, but guess what? Marsau don't have enough money. So Tisha said, that's fine. I done saved up some money. Also, well, you know what? Because I'm slow and methodical. I saved up money. Great. Let's go in this business together. Great. It was going to be Marsau, Martell at the time, and Tisha. Well, as you know, Martell runs through his money too. He makes bad decisions. Next thing you know, he had to sell. He had to cash out. But when Martell got ready to get cashed out, where was Marsau with his money to buy Martell out? Nowhere around. Nowhere around, because he makes bad money decisions too. Marsau makes bad money decisions. I'm going to tell you that now. Because if you're a contractor, there's no reason for you to have two projects that are just for you. Why would you be a contractor and be building both offices for Tisha and a home in addition to the buildings that make money? That tells me he's a bad money manager. I think so. And if it weren't for this show bringing in all this money, I bet Tisha and Marsau would be in trouble. I'm telling you that right now. If they were not getting these checks from Love and Marriage Huntsville, I think that they would be trouble because black is black making money. I don't think so. Black is for show and tell, right? So anyway, what was I saying? What I'm saying is when Marsau and Tisha had an opportunity to buy out Martell. Who bought it? Tisha did. Tisha bought out Martell, which what that did was they gave Tisha more than 50% of the business. And that's where we sit now. So what is Marsau really upset about? What Marsau is really upset about is that he does all the work, as he says. He's the one out in the rain, in the sun, in the heat, and Father's Day. But yet he don't have 51% of the business. Tisha does. And Tisha don't do nothing. Well, here's the thing. And he's mad as hell about that. So imagine this. You're doing all the work, all the heavy lifting, all the labor, right? Managing all the staff. But Tisha owns 51% of it. And what Tisha was saying was correct. Well, I try to help you. I try to help you. But what you do is you go and you hire people. Because Marsau don't really want to work with Tisha. Marsau don't really like Tisha that much. Let's be honest. He loves her. He does love her. But does he like her as a friend? Does he like her like he wants to hang out with her? No, because he don't like her conversation. Because she's slow. And Marsau needs a person who he actually can have elevated conversation with. Tisha talks all day long about her feelings and her emotions, what she wants. She whines. That's what her mother allowed her to do for 40-something years. And Marsau is tired of it. He don't like listening to it. So he don't want her in the business. He don't want to go on no vacation with her to Africa. He don't want to go to the gym with her. He don't really want to do nothing with her. But then he's mad that he's got to do all the work, but yet he only got 49% of the business. Well, Tisha's right. You put yourself in this trick bag. You put yourself in this trick bag. I don't even know why Marsau was trying to even advise Maurice, talking about the one who angers you controls you. Well, I guess that's true about you. You know, Marsau's over here trying to tell Maurice, hey, don't let Martell get you all riled up because the person who angers you controls you. Well, I guess you controlled by Tisha. You sure are, because she owns 51% and you mad as hell. And he said, I don't know why Tisha wants another identity besides being my wife. He's always said that. Even when Melody was on the show. He didn't like Melody influencing Tisha. Remember, Tisha started becoming a part of the sorority, hanging around Melody. Marsau never liked it. He never wanted Tisha to become a Melody. But he's saying Tisha ain't satisfied with just being my wife, and I don't know why. I don't know why either, Marsau, because I don't even know why Tisha needs an office for what she does. She doesn't need an office. She don't need no big old office building. It's because Tisha wants to go out into the world and she wants to be able to have her own accolades. But technically, I don't know if Tisha really wants to accomplish anything. I think Tisha wants it for show because she has her license. She could have joined another realtor's brokerage or whatever the case, had an office there, had a chair there. She's got a lot of options. She could have rented an office. Okay? If Tisha really wants an office to get her real estate business going. She could work from home. She could rent an office. She could do a lot of things, but that's not what Tisha wants. Tisha wants to appear as if she's a businesswoman, but she's really not a businesswoman. Getting a degree and being a businesswoman is two different things. I don't really think Tisha's a real businesswoman. I don't. I know a lot of you going to tell me that that's not true. I think so, because if you're a real businesswoman, you don't have one route to your goal. And according to Tisha, her only route to her goal is through Marsau. The only way she can really get this brokerage business going the way she wants is for Marsau to build her an office building. No, a businesswoman is resourceful, because a lot of us encounter bad contractors like Marsau is, and we find a way around it. So I think what Tisha wants is a look. She wants a look. And so Marsau's like, I don't need people in here who only want to look. Just like when they first built that other building, and Tisha went in there and decorated like it was her living room, not even an office. And next thing you know, Marsau kicked her out of there and hired that man. You know, Marsau is talking to Maurice saying, he thought when he first met Tisha, what he liked about her was that she was getting behind his dream, his vision. He thought he had someone who says, "I can help you do that right there." That's what he liked. He was gonna have a partner, right? Someone who was gonna uh, cheer him on, and he liked that about Tisha. And Tisha was gonna make her dream his dream. Um, the problem was Marsau didn't have no money, so he needed Tisha's money to make his dream come true. So in one way, he wants her just to be a cheerleader, but then the other way, he wants her to be resourceful enough to have money to fund his business so he can get it off the ground. Which one do you want, Marsau? Which one do you want? Now that he has his business off the ground, now he's saying, I really don't need you in the business no more. Where my money was good when we started it, now all of a sudden nothing is good. You don't want me here. Yeah, that's what it is. She says, I try to be part of meetings with you. But then she says, but that also means I can't be in the PTA meeting with the kids. This is what Marsau's story is. She said, now I want you to get my office done. And I also want you to build Scott Manor. All for show. All for show. All of this is just for show. They really both make good points. They really do. But the way they go about it is the wrong way. Marsau is a gaslighter. He is diminishing the value that Tisha brought to the business, which is seed money. Even in any venture capitalist sort of partnership, the person who's bringing 51% of the money is a big dot deal. You couldn't have had the business without them. Now, yeah, you're bringing the know-how, you're bringing the skill, you're bringing that, but don't diminish my money. Don't diminish my money. And that's what Marsau is doing. And he's taking forever to build that office for Tisha because he don't really want to build it. He really doesn't want to build the office because he don't want Tisha to have an office, and he don't want Tisha to be a business person, period and point blank. And what he's saying now is, now that I've got things off the ground and our business is doing well and I'm on Love and Marriage Huntsville and I'm getting another check, I don't really need your money anymore, Tisha, not as much as I used to. So what would it take for me to buy you out? That's when he comes with the bullshit question. He said, what happened to the we? He wanted a life partner, not a business partner, right? He don't want Tisha to have no say-so in the business. He doesn't want Tisha to have to sign no documents. He doesn't want to have Tisha to have the right to complain about what projects get started, what projects don't get started. Basically, he doesn't want her to have anything to say about the business. He just wants her to bring him a sandwich. That's it. But that advice was bad, Maurice. Maurice said, you need to go to her and say, this is dividing us. This workload is heavy for me. And I need a partner. I need some help. And at first I was like, no, ain't no way Maurice is going to go to Tisha and say, can I buy you out? Right? No way are they going to do it. It's funny about the Scott brothers. Maurice said he said the same thing to Kimmy. Well, Maurice, you moved into Kimmy's house when you got married. So are these Scott brothers, like Kimmy said, you used to work with your hands. You came up from the dirt when I was with you. It's almost as if Kimmy and Tisha brought in the seed money. They saved money. Tisha saved money. Kimmy saved money as a nurse. The Scott brothers came in with a whole lot of mouth, a whole lot of dreams, right? But no money. Then they marry these women. He moves into Kimmy's house, Maurice does. Marsau uses Tisha's money to start the business. And now Maurice goes on, eventually gets a, law degree, passes the bar. And then when they start getting these checks from Love and Marriage Huntsville, all of a sudden now they're going to their wives saying, can I buy you out of the business? This is some bullshit. I would be offended. No, you can't buy me out. In fact, maybe I ought to buy you out. Let's talk about that. Maybe I ought to buy you out. You not buy me out. But Tisha's sad because she's getting gaslit by Marsau, and she don't know how to have no conversation with him. And he says, Tisha, all Tisha gonna say is, I don't know how to fit in. And he says, but Tisha ain't trying to fit in. Tisha trying to grab the steering wheel. Tisha wants a seat at the board of directors chair. And Marsau says, I don't want you to have a seat in the board of directors. I want you to go get me a sandwich. I don't even want you to talk. I don't even want you to have an opinion. I just want you to look pretty and go get me a sandwich. And so Marsau sits down and he starts screaming and yelling, talking about, why don't you give me credit for what I learned? Why don't you give me credit for what I've done over the last 14 years? I've proved myself. Haven't you learned that my words mean something? My hands built this business. I don't hear nowhere where Tisha's putting Marsau down, but what I hear Marsau saying is, because you won't relinquish the entire business to me, that feels to me as if you don't trust me and I want all the power. That's what he's saying. He's saying, the way I feel trusted by you, Tisha, is by you never showing up, never asking me no questions, never asking me to do something I don't want to do, give me seed money when I want seed money, and go get me a sandwich. That's how I feel trusted by you. And what Tisha's saying, well, that's not how I feel included. So one person says, if I do that for you, I won't feel included. The other person says, if you don't do it for me, I don't feel trusted. And I don't feel like the leader. You know, Marsau is saying he wants help now, but did anyone here, like I said, besides those things I mentioned, don't ask me to build your office building, don't ask me to go on no vacations, don't ask me to even take you on a date, just bring me a sandwich. That's all he was asking for. That's it. That's the deal, Tisha. And Tisha is doing all this crying, and she's just, in a fog, and she doesn't know what to do. And so he says, how much is it going to cost me to buy you out? And her emotions immediately take her to the place that says, what? Are you basically saying you're asking for a divorce? You want to start separating things? You want this to be me versus you? And then Marsau gaslights her and says, you're not even listening to me. No, she heard you. We all heard you. Okay, Marsau, everyone would come to the conclusion that when someone comes to you and says, I want to buy you out, that's equivalent to saying, I want to be here and I want you over there. And I don't want to make business decisions with you. That's what she's saying. And she's saying, well, if you don't want to make business decisions with me and we're business, what are you saying? You won't want to be together too? Or are you saying you want to own the whole business, still stay in marriage, even though I put in all this seed money? Give him a number, Tisha. Say you could buy me out. Give him a number. 20 million. 20 million. That's what you can buy me out for. $20 million. And then I can take that 20 million and I can go hire me a contractor to build my office building. Come up with a number, Tisha. play his game, call his bluff, right? Because he ain't going to want to buy it from you from no big amount of money. He's going to want to buy it from you from pennies on the dollar. That's what he's going to do. He's going to want to diminish your initial input. He's going to want to diminish anything you've done, and he's going to want to buy it for pennies on the dollar. So then he can go out in the world and say, look at this business I built that I own all by myself. No, she don't want you to have no part of scope, no part of black. He basically wants to erase you, period. You better wake up, Tisha. You better wake up. But I will agree with Marsau on that little scene when Tisha was trying to get Ken to say, well, what have you heard about Marsau? What about his cheating? What have you heard? Tell me more. Tell me, sir. Marsau was right. She absolutely was begging. He was right. She was begging. And I don't know why, because she really can't handle the truth. She can't handle the truth, yet she was begging for it. So I'm going to give Marsau some points there, and I'm going to tell Tisha to go sit down. Tisha bites off more than she can chew. She gets in conversations, discussions, arguments, bantering, and she really can't hold her weight. All she ever ends at is, you hurt my feelings, and I need you to apologize. Every conversation with Tisha ends with, you hurt my feelings, and I want you to apologize. That tells you right there, Tisha, you in places you don't need to be in. You really in places you don't want to be in. But I don't know what they're going to do. Do I think they're going to break up? No. I think this is just a married couple spat. And actually what I think is Tisha's going to fall in line. I do. Because I don't think Tisha wants her marriage to break up. And I don't think Tisha can go toe-to-toe with Marsau. He is a professional gaslighter. And she's never going to be able to make sense of it. And then after a while, I think Tisha's just going to have to give in. And she's going to have to give Marsau what he wants. Not give in and let him hurt him, buy her out. But she's going to have to stay out of the business. And she's going to have to find a business of her own. The problem is Tisha doesn't really know how to start, run, and maintain a business. So she won't have one. But this one with Marsau being in it, being at the seat at the table, having decisions, no. Because all her decisions are too emotional. I wouldn't want her as a partner either. Nobody can keep making decisions based on emotion all the time. And Tisha's hurt feelings. Who wants to have to cater to that when you have to make quick business decisions? I wouldn't. I would be telling her to go sit down too. Go rent an office. How much is rent in Huntsville? I'm sure you can find something for $300. You got Maurice and Kimmy over there. They got a whole empty vacant building, but everybody's dependent on Marsau. Marsau. Is Marsau the only contractor in all of Huntsville? Between Kimmy, Maurice, and Tisha, they all dumb and slow as fuck. I couldn't believe last week Maurice was talking about they spent $500,000 in rent and they got a vacant building. That's your fault. That's your fault. You all you guys running behind gaslighting Marsau. Marsau over here telling Tisha, what's your real value in this company? At 51%. Whatever the value is of the company, take 51% of that, and that's my value because that's what I own, right? It doesn't matter what you think my value is, Marsau. My value is recorded on the documents that says I own 51%. That's my value. Now, if you try to constructively remove me from the business, that don't change the paperwork. That does not change the paperwork. Tisha's right. When she tries to get involved, he pushes away. He does. He don't want you there. He don't really like you like that, Tisha. He really doesn't. He doesn't really like you like that. He don't want to go on vacation. He go to Africa by himself. When these kids leave and go off, I don't know what's going to happen. So you better find yourself some sorority meetings to go to, some sorority friends to hang out with, some community service projects you can do. Go rent you another office building somewhere. And at least you may have peace in the house. At least you may have peace. And then ask for a couple of vacations a year and be happy. But this dream of yours to be some big businesswoman on the cover of Forbes magazine so you could be like Melody, Entrepreneur of the Year, and all this. Give it up, girl. Give it up. You not that woman. I don't like when people try to be other people. Be yourself. Yourself can be good enough. You don't have to try to be other people. And for the longest, Tisha has always tried to be other people besides herself because she never really felt confident in who she was. Now she over here trying to be her mama and try to be quick tongue, but she's not. She ain't quick witted. She can't be her either. She can't even be Miss Wanda. Marsau said he feel alone in business and he feels alone in the marriage too. He's alone in the marriage because his wife isn't doing what he wants her to do, which is stay out of the business. I'm alone in business because you ain't bringing me a sandwich, because that's all he's asked her to do in the business. He has not asked her for one thing business wise. Not one. Did any of you hear it? No. All he said was bring me lunch to the job site. So that's why you're alone in the business, because you ain't getting Uber Eats every single day. And he's alone in the marriage because he really doesn't like talking to her, because he doesn't like her conversation, because when they have conversation, all she does is whine about what he's not doing in terms of building her office and building Scott Manor and this and that. And he's tired of listening to it. He says, I work all day. I work hard to bring in the money for the business, and all you do is complain. So when I get home from work, I don't even want to talk to you because all you do is complain all day about your feelings. They need to go to a professional. There is no way that Tisha and Marsau are going to work out these problems by themselves. They're not. They're going to need someone to check both of them. Both of them. Um, I don't know. Do I think they're going to get divorced? I don't think so. I know a lot of people think, they're going to get divorced. I don't think so. I think Marsau knows what he wants and needs from Tisha, and Tisha's just going to have to come to the place where she gives that to him and she finds something else to do to occupy her time and also make her feel worthy and make her feel important some other kind of way. The kids are older. They don't need her as much as they used to. The son is already off to college. So she's got 2 girls left. She can put herself into that while they're getting ready for college themselves, and find another path and maybe give up this idea that she's going to be some Forbes Entrepreneur of the Year. But anyway, that's all I got to talk about, y'all. I'll talk to you later. Bye.